Hey everyone, TJ Hernandez here, and I'm the founder of RosterCoach.com, a classroom-style video-based website that's designed to help you improve your daily fantasy sports game. Today's preview is from a lesson discussing the basics of NFL DFS bankroll management. If you like this video, please like and share it, and don't forget to leave a comment below. I'm going to introduce the 80-20-10 rule, a rule that is a general DFS bankroll rule of thumb. And what 80-20-10 means is that on any given night, or in our case, any given week, if you're only playing NFL DFS, that you never want to play more than 10% of your total bankroll. And of that 10%, 80% of your money in play will be dedicated to cash games, while the other 20% will be put in play in large field GPPs. And this bankroll rule is designed to maximize upside while limiting risk, but it also does assume a decent level of skill. So when you're starting out as a new player, it's better to be a little more conservative while you're getting to know the game. For players that are brand new to DFS, I suggest a rule closer to 90-10-10, which is 10% of your bankroll in play, but instead playing about 90% cash games and 10% in GPPs, just because GPPs can be so volatile and you want to minimize your losses while you're still getting familiar with the game. So moving forward with this lesson and this entire course, we are going to work under the assumption that we want to minimize our risk and lose as little as possible. Of course, game splits are going to vary from user to user depending on your ultimate goal and your individual risk tolerance, but for illustration purposes, we will stick with a 90-10-10 rule. Now, the first thing we want to do as a new player is determine our actual bankroll. And the reason we want to do that is because if you're calculating your weekly buy-ins based on a bankroll that's smaller than your actual bankroll, then you're going to be leaving valuable upside on the table. And conversely, if you're playing more than you can actually afford, then you're going to be running the risk of ruin and not even being able to play at all. A perfect example of this is a lot of times people will treat their bankroll as how much they have on a given site. Now, if you start week one of the NFL season with an initial $100 deposit, and that's the absolute maximum that you're willing to deposit on the site for the entire season, then your actual bankroll is $100. But let's say that your initial deposit is $100, but you know that throughout the season that if you have any bad swings, you can afford to deposit up to $20 per week. In that case, we should factor that $20 per week into our total bankroll because that's a total number that we'll be willing to deposit on the entire season. So just to quickly calculate how much we would be playing on that exact bankroll, if our initial deposit is $100 and we can afford to deposit $20 in any given week, then our total bankroll is our initial deposit plus the amount we could replenish in each week. And if we assume that we're going to play all 17 weeks, then we can deposit up to 16 times throughout the season. So multiply that by 16. So our total bankroll for the season is $420, even though we only depositing $100 in week one. Going back to our 90-10-10 rule, we don't want to play more than 10% in any given week. So our maximum money in play in any given week will be $42. And sticking with the 90-10-10 rule, we want 90% of that money coming from cash games, and we want 10% of that money going towards GPPs. So going into week one, we'll expect that $38 will go towards cash games and $4 of our buy-ins will go towards GPPs. Once we have our actual bankroll calculated, two numbers that we want to calculate for all games that we're considering playing are our expected value and our break-even percentage. So as an example of how to calculate these numbers, I'm going to use head-to-head games since it's the most simple calculation. So starting at the top, we have our expected value of $1 head-to-head. And expected value equals the percent chance to win times the prize payout minus your entry fee.